practice for the position I'm going to be at going forward. So.
Today is exactly what you do,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah.
Because you had the experience. Tell us about that last lap.
I just kind of have to tell myself, stay calm, be your feet, know that you have another gear and you have to use it. Because I love to race, and I hope that I never forget that. Sometimes I get very scared, and I forget that. And so when everyone started making moves, Yolanda and Michaela, I was like, this is it. This is what we're going for. Make sure you're there. Like, obviously, physical body, but also mentally too. So yeah, no, it was very exciting finish.
Yolanda was coming on there near the end for a bit.
Yeah, no, I know
she was there.
Oh yeah, I'm very aware of what a strong runner she is, So I was giving life. I was like, don't let her have a chance, But I've seen her race, I've seen her kick. She's a tremendous athlete. So yeah, I knew what I was up against.
You won this race last year. You were still sort of under the radar, and now you're U.S. champion in the steeple, so you're obviously not under the radar anymore. Like, what is it like for you coming into a track season this year compared to last season?
It's definitely different for sure. I feel like I psyched myself out a lot in college, and I was never consistent because I would just get in my head a lot, and so I felt like it was a lot easier to not get in my head last year when I was just like, I don't know what anything means, I don't know where I'm at, I don't know what I'm doing, and I could just run kind of weightless and burden free in that sense. And now I'm in a position that I'm not very comfortable in, and usually don't like to be in, and so I like being able to try new things. I want to be sort of athlete who can, win from any direction, who can handle any sort of circumstance. People used to always call Emma Covert unflappable, and I like to turn, and I'm like, that's something I want to feel like I want to be flappable. I want to show up whether I'm feeling good, whether I'm feeling bad, whether everyone's after me, whether no one has any idea, has any idea of who I am. Yeah, so I like being able to, know I have a target on my back and just have the confidence to execute the way I want.
How did you feel your season went last year after you won USA's?
No, not great. I don't think anyone was expecting me to make the world team. It was, I think some people in my corner knew I had a chance, but it wasn't planned. And so it was peaked for USA's, and then ran great USA's, and it's oh crap, what do we do now? So we just kind of piecing random weeks together, and so I think I have that, that benefit now, knowing that making it past USA's is a chance, and so we're kind of planning long term, and just know that I have a coach in my corner now who's working with me and who has that long-term thought process behind it. It's very reassuring for me, very confidence-giving to me.
How does it feel to be coming back to Boston and just defending this title for you?
It's just so exciting. Just be back in Boston in general. Whether I was last or first, I knew I was gonna have a great time. The race. They put on such a great race here. People bring such a great energy, and I always have people in my corner and my family that show up, and I have great athletes to race against. I'm very fortunate to be friends with all the girls I'm on the line with. So it was gonna be a win today, anyways. Whether that was coming in first or not, but I'm lucky to have had both wins. First place finish, and also just everything comes to being here.
Was there anything in particular you were focusing on, just knowing it's an Olympic year and you're just trying to get those races underneath your belt?
I'm trying to focus on one race at a time, and also try and give myself one thing to focus on one race at a time. And so I asked my coach, can you give me a word or phrase? Thinking it'd be something oh, peace, or something calming. And he goes, turn and burn. And so the whole race I was kind of thinking, okay, turn and burn, turn and burn. Maybe that takes on different meanings at different points of the race. But so coming around a corner, I was just thinking okay, put your feet down, you gotta turn and burn, or when it was time to start kicking, I was get those wheels turning and burn them up. Yeah.
Jackson.
Yes, yeah.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
How do you approach a 3-lap race? It's you don't have splits. Are you just solely focusing on who's around you?
Yeah, totally. Just being in the moment, taking it one thing at a time. So it's lap 1 was pay position, know where you're at, make sure you're in the position where you're at. Lap 2 was I try to make lap 2 gratitude and just think about in my head going into the race. I was thinking about things that you're grateful for. But I just feel sometimes my mind just goes so chaotic all over the place that when I was in lap 2, I was I should start making a list. But I was no, just don't lose contact. Lose contact. Make sure you're still up in the front. So I didn't think about what I want to think about in lap 2. And then lap 3 was just race. Whatever's around you, wherever you are, make smart decisions.
Do you typically find you run better based on just racing everyone, or would you some pacing, feedback?
No, I do a lot better when I'm just racing my times. I feel I can be a head case sometimes, and people tell me not to say this. They're no, you're not. I'm no, I am. I know I am. It's okay. I'm obsessed with numbers, and so I would say if I was running a race and I saw numbers I want to see, that would give me a lot of confidence. But if I'm not seeing numbers I want to see, I'm going to panic and freak out. And it's I can't do that. that, you know? I can't just like run well when you're just getting the feedback you want. Sometimes it's not always gonna happen. And so when I'm not thinking of time, I feel like I race a lot better. Like I'm just present and in the moment.
So you're focused more on like words or like mantras rather than splits?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How has the coaching transition gone for you?
It's been, it's been a little difficult, but that's more on my end. Like I said, I get in my head, I just adjust things. I don't know, sometimes I can be very critical. But Jack has been absolutely amazing. Like he's been so patient with me. He meets me where I'm at. He's so excited about like working with me. Like, so I'll sit down with him sometimes and he'll clean out a grid, like a block, and he'll just send it to me. And I'll be like, how does this look? And if it look good? And if I like it, I'm like, yeah. If not, I'll be like, hey, can we tweak this and maybe move this around? And he's very receptive to that. So I think once I allow myself to put my trust in him, like it's gonna be a really good relationship going forward.
The success you had last year, were you working closely with Jenna, or was that based on stuff like workouts Alan, the training Alan
I think a lot of it was Alan, yeah. And I put full trust in Alan because I was like, I didn't even know I was gonna go pro. So I'm like, I don't know what this means. So like, I'm gonna just try to trust someone. And then I was very frustrated with how the season like ended. And so then I got my head. That's when I was like, well, you can't trust anyone, you know. So that's why Jack has received kind of like the backlash from that. And like Jack's done nothing wrong. So yeah.
What would you say to young women who want to be in your position?
I just focus on you. Stay in your lane. Like that's something I have to tell myself all the time. It's like don't be looking around. I mean, you can look at what other people are doing and like be excited for them, but you need what you need, and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people and trying to do what they're trying to do because what you need, what benefits you might not be the same as like what benefits them. So yeah, stay in your lane, do what works for you and what makes you happy.
Do you know your spring racing schedule yet, or are you still figuring that out?
Yes, sir. So I'll do a 1500 at Sound Running in early May, and then I'll do end of May steeple at Diamond League, and then mile at Festival of Miles in basically 30th, so the week after Cree, and then USA's, and then obviously hopefully Paris, but we'll see going forward after USA's.
Awesome. Thank you, Krissy.
No, thank you guys.